Thank you. I'm just going to, as I said, I've come from the Waste Minimisation Fund. I'm one of the analysts that works on the fund, and so I just thought it would be helpful for you just to have a quick overview of what the fund actually is, because you may not be familiar with it. First of all, it came about as a result of the Waste Minimisation Act that was implemented in 2008, or started in 2008. Its purpose, as the name would suggest, is to encourage waste minimisation and to reduce the amount of waste going to landfill. So we do that two ways. Firstly is through investment in infrastructure and the systems for waste minimisation. And secondly, through investment in the educational and promotional capacity around waste minimisation. It's actually a two-stage funding process that we get people to go through. The first one is the very initial application stage, where people do an online eligibility check. If they complete this successfully, then they get sent an application form, a copy of the standard funding deed and an application guide. They fill that out and send it in to us. We then assess it. If they're successful in stage one, they get passed on to stage two, which is project planning. In stage two, we work much more closely with applicants to develop their project plan. So the fund has only been running a year. We gave out about $6.5 million in the first year, and we're looking to give out over $12 million in 2011. The first funding round actually opens today. For 2011, it's actually going to be a dual funding round. So it's going to be a first round and then a second round in sort of October next year. So how do we support innovation and flexibility? Firstly, for innovation, as you can imagine, with something like the Waste Minimisation Fund, finding new solutions is actually key to what we're actually trying to do. We want to see innovation, and it's a key reason that, why we fund investigative studies through the fund. We basically fund them to test the water, to try and give people a bit of money to see if an idea might actually have some potential. We also recognise when we're actually assessing projects, we recognise the strategic value of projects, which we see as another element of innovation. If a project has the potential to be rolled out or used elsewhere, it's considered while we actually assess them. Secondly, is that we're actually funding others to do the work for us. Key part of obviously is that we realise that we don't have all the solutions and the expertise. The expertise are going to come from business, they're going to come from the community sector all over, and we want to be open to that. And we also believe in local solutions for local problems around a lot of waste issues, and so obviously funding others allows us to find those solutions. We try and be results focused within our project planning and the way we work through with applicants. To sort out their project plans and what their objectives are for their projects. And we also, it's that partnership word again, we encourage partnership in both funding and project management. So that's not just about who comes to the table with the money. We normally ask applicants to actually to provide some of the money themselves or find partnership funding from other sources, but also in the operation of the projects, because we think that by having partnership, that expands the skills and knowledge available to the project and maximises its potential impact. So flexibility. Firstly, monitoring and evaluation framework is a key part of our project planning stage. As I mentioned, this happens in stage 2 of the project, and we work closely with applicants to develop these sort of structures within their project. Secondly is the importance of good information. As I mentioned, we do fund investigative projects, especially with larger projects. We also ask people to do feasibility studies or business cases before they start the project. This is a key way of basically bringing in the information they need to make sure that project is successful. We also call on our own subject matter experts, particularly things like assessing milestones to ensure that we do actually have the right information needed to properly assess how our project is doing. And lastly, it's that partnership thing again. We do work together with our project applicants to overcome problems as they go through. We kind of see the more we work closely with people, the more problems can be highlighted in their initial stages before they become a large problem, and we can find solutions to them. So, going on to accountability and integrity. As this slide says, integrity and accountability are key in allowing the fund to be flexible and to support innovation. It enables us to trust those we fund and to take considered risks to find new solutions. So integrity and accountability, how do we actually demonstrate that? Because, you know, as I'm sure you're aware, it's actually quite a hard thing to actually conceptualise. So as a project partner, we try to be clear in the guidelines we give out to applicants and what we're looking for in applications. We list the criteria for the fund on the website, and we also try to rule out ineligible applications very early on, either through the online application that people do initially, or when we first receive the applications. Secondly is communication. As Hugh mentioned, every year we run workshops to go out there and meet the people who are thinking about applying to the fund, and that's the reason why I don't actually have someone to talk with here, because they're all out actually meeting the people who are the new applicants or potential applicants, talking about their experience of applying to the fund. So we do those funding workshops every year, and included in that are things like top tips on how to actually complete your application and what we're actually looking for. And within these workshops, we make sure we leave plenty of time for questions and one-on-one interaction with potential applicants. And also, we're obviously always open for questions throughout the year. Secondly is continuous improvement, and that is both ways. As I said, it's the first year of the fund, so we're always looking for ways to improve the fund and the process. And we also try and give feedback and try and be really open to applicants if they are unsuccessful on why they were actually unsuccessful. And we're always open to them actually reapplying for the next funding round once they've made changes. And lastly, we're really keen to work closely with applicants so we can actually rectify problems early. So in those we fund, this as the same time as we expect integrity and accountability in ourselves, we also expect it from the people we fund. We are giving out government money, and as such we have to be careful about where it goes. So we want to encourage innovation and innovative projects, but they need to be considered risks. So how do we do this? Firstly, due diligence. We actually carry it out on everybody that gets through to stage 2 of the funding process. This basically does a background check on the organisation. Secondly, we bring in expert opinion on proposed projects, so they can assess both the potential benefits of a project and obviously the risks. Third, during the project planning stage, we do a lot of work on milestones and reporting, so we can see how a project is going throughout its life. And lastly, we work closely with projects both in project planning and during delivery. So basically, through those sort of measures, it builds trust between the two parties, which means that any problems are spotted early. So just to summarise, we feel that integrity and accountability from the people we fund allows us to support innovation. It basically builds the trust that we need to do that.